Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Everyone's been enjoying their day thus far. Finally got some nice weather here in Ohio. I was actually able to get out and do some stuff outside. Good to actually be out in warm weather once. This is kind of an impromptu video. I was actually started this as writing as a blog. The more and more I started writing, the more and more I started realizing there's just so much that needs to be said about this. There's so much other history involved that's led us to this point that maybe some people don't know. There's probably a lot of people, they just have been on the big social network platforms and haven't ventured off to on the other smaller platforms like Ning, Spurts, various other ones. Maybe you guys don't understand that a lot of the stuff we're seeing now took place. It was started on those platforms before it even got reached these big platforms. I'm guessing my notifications didn't go out. It's been a common thing, seems to be a common theme today. Real common theme today. How long the links are shared. I remember back before Facebook, before I was ever on Facebook, Twitter. I was on the Ning platform. My first website I ran and built myself was on Ning. And that's where I got my start when it comes to social platforms, social networks, just in Ning. MySpace. Of course, we all remember MySpace. Was the platform for the longest. But it wasn't that bad when I first got on it. It was like 2009. That's when they started, they started implementing stuff, talking about, well, you can't have this image, or you can't post this video. They started getting real touchy on certain subjects. First, as always, it starts with what they would consider adult content. And they started with that. They always start with that because that's the stuff, most people, they don't want to see it anyway. There's proper places for that. But that's how they get started. They always go after the thing that will be the least resistance. They always choose the path of the least resistance. And my personal opinion, this is my opinion through experience, though. This is where they beta tested all of this social network and censorship. It's on these small platforms like Spurts, Ning. I can't remember them all. There's so many. And not to mention Angel Tree, or Angel Fire, not Tree. Angel Fire was another place you could create websites. They lacked the social interaction. Nings and Spurts, they were set up for social interaction, social communities. I mean, before Facebook had their little chat boxes, we had chat boxes on Ning. We had music players on Ning. We was able to upload videos. upload files. Now, who's the beta testing that? You know, these weren't beta testing sites. I mean, Ning's still around to this day. I'm still a member of many communities on Ning still. And a few of those sites were huge. I mean, we're talking 100,000 members in the community, 50,000, 20,000. I mean, my site, before their policies and stuff started getting a little bit too ridiculous and changing, I had up to 6,000. But then they started taking away a lot of the free features, and it's just getting a little too picky about what content you put, any prepping stuff or any stuff like that, conspiracy stuff. They would come after it and nitpick it. And what happened? The result of that was they caused a migration. People left Ning, jumped over to Spurts, and it started happening on Spurts. They left that. It's always been the answer. We'll just leave and go somewhere else. To where many of these people ended up on Facebook, created groups and stuff, or they ventured off and created their own websites, which I eventually ended up doing myself, creating my own platform, using my own codes, designing, you know. And then, but when you're doing that, it costs money. And if you don't know how to code, you don't know how to do graphics, you got to pay people to do that. You know how to create apps, you have to pay people for that. There's open source software you can use, but in the end, it comes boiling down to one concept. You're still dealing with a hosting provider. You're paying somebody to host your website so you can run your website, so you can have huge amounts of traffic on these websites. Well, these hosting providers, they started censoring. It happened on Blogger, WordPress. Still happens on WordPress to this day. You know, you want to run ads and stuff on these platforms, or you allow Google to run ads on these platforms, they will start coming at you with certain content they don't want to be shown on these platforms, no matter what the name of the platform is. And they just see how far they can push. And nobody says, oh, WordPress is, you know, they're small. Yeah, reality, WordPress isn't small, neither is Blogger. But then people got away from them and started just, okay, the money I'm paying here, I'll just invest it and build my own. Well, then the hosting provider, they run the advertisements, they got to deal with the search engines. So they're get pressured into censoring the people's websites. And it happens on every hosting provider, no matter what it is. I've been there, done that through many of them. But they were, you know, nobody was saying much because, you know, when people migrate, we end up with communities separating, and you start losing that strength in numbers to take stands. Or you try to find, okay, let me comply because there ain't nobody else that offers what they offer here. See, there is the catch. Because in truth, I got lucky and managed to find open source software where I could basically have what Ning has, what Facebook has, and even what we have here on YouTube to a certain point. But you still could do these things. And there's ways you could live stream to your site through various purchase apps. So there was that value option. But with that, means you're not gonna be able to be on the cheapest server, hosting server. You're gonna have to pay for a bigger server. The more, not that it goes about numbers. The more traffic you start generating, the more it bogs down your site. So you end up having, I was running off a VP server, and the software stuff I was running on it was great. I could hold up to 100 websites, allowing them to have 5,000 to 10,000 members each. So not bad. But eventually that would get bogged down. Then, when you start doing that, you're responsible for content that people start putting up. You start allowing other people to run off your server. I mean, I had to sit down, talk with lawyers and stuff, talk with IT techs. And what I found out was shocking for me. This is like 4 years ago, no, about 5 years ago now. And it was shocking. The fact that no matter what you did or tried to do, and because in design, we were eventually going to buy our own server. Minimum server 10K. Once you know how to build your own. But then I started learning about that, all the ins and outs, and how controlled it actually was. I was basically taught, man, if you're gonna do that, you might as well go on the dark web. And they're like, what happens if you go on the dark web? So because you're just gonna have those aggravations. If you don't comply, they're just gonna tie you up in court to where you can no longer afford to even do any of it. Plus, you're trying to compete with other platforms as well. So it's a market that can be quite cutthroat. But all this stuff we're seeing now has happened. Been happening since 2009 that I know of, from my personal experience. And like I said, they find the smallest group to target, or the path to the least resistance. Adult content, easiest thing to target. And they'll start going from there to smaller groups, conspiracy type stuff, prepping type stuff. And they get you in so many different ways. The TOSs, BS, they're so left up for interpretation. And you're not really dealing with another like-minded individual. You're dealing with somebody that has his own views, his own opinions, his own beliefs, that just don't like what you're talking about or liking what you have, so therefore they're going to go after it every time. And sometimes you can, argue the cases and get a different supervisor involved, and it goes away. But then you just start getting bombarded. Everything on your website starts getting made. Every time you turn around, you get a notification threatening to take your site down. I get it, but I've been there. I've seen the migration, how it works. And all they do, forcing people off these platforms, thinking that there's another better one, or there'll be a better one later. We just stick it out. When in truth, they just keep strangling the noose, tightening the noose. And before you know it, we start seeing the big social networks. Even the internet itself, when you go to search stuff now, as I've shown in last week, I think it was, Fact or Fiction, where I showed you how Google search restricted a mom and pop gun store. So you click on the link, you couldn't access the website. I had to literally go to another platform and click on the link to go to their website. Same link, nothing's wrong, nothing's changed, but I couldn't access it from Google search. So this is happening all in front of you. Why? What's the big push? How did we get to this point? Well, some of us could say, well, it started with fake news. It started with people starting to come out during, basically this all came to a head during the last election cycle. Trump. How social media platform was really used finally for the first time, where people started questioning things. They don't like it when you question. Not one bit. When people started questioning and pointing facts out to the major news network, proving the major news networks wrong, these people started getting labeled as fake news. We've seen the rise of the truther community, which there was always a truther community. There was always people doing that stuff. And we started seeing, good content coming out. Because people were able to start actually making some income by doing this stuff. Well, there's a reason why they let you make income. It's a little neat way to control you. We'll let you really get paid doing this stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. You should get paid. Uh-oh. Give me a second. I think I got disconnected. Or signed out, one of the two. I guess not. There's so many apps, and they've seen all this. They've seen how people were correcting the media, correcting information that they wanted to deem was factual. I mean, like Wikipedia. Don't get me started on that one again. I mean, they've got articles up that aren't neutral, that don't follow Wikipedia's guidelines. They're all one-sided, and they're not supposed to be. The fact that anybody can edit, which we know that's not entirely true either. They have lock systems. And it became a controlled narrative. We've seen the rise of a fact-checking site, Snoops. And for anybody that researched them, yeah, credibility there, not so much. There's better people here on YouTube fact-checking things and getting it right every time, putting their research in, time in to do it. They don't want that though, because when you start doing that, you're changing the narrative that they're trying to control. And this is what it kind of comes down to. It's about control, controlling the information, controlling what is truth to what is made up. And a lot of times they don't want you talking about what is the status quo. Like during the Obama administration, the status quo is this don't happen here. We don't have ISIS cells or terrorists here in the U.S. It was a flat out liar. As soon as Trump took office, the status quo changed. Then we start to see how they got this off. How the status quo was the status quo because they were sealing the court records, sealing the documents. Last year I had people come to me, give me articles. Hey, check this out. This guy in Ohio in 2014 was arrested, convicted, and sent to some prison, who knows where, on terrorist charges. The document was sealed. Everything was sealed. So therefore, that never happened. Some local news agency got hold of it. Then there was two cases in North Carolina. Same type of stuff. Cases were sealed. Took this administration to come around. But these things were exactly what people on YouTube, people on Twitter, people on Facebook were telling people. But mainstream news says, no, this ain't happening. This doesn't happen. The Obama administration, this doesn't happen. This isn't happening. They're trying to control the narrative. So they start labeling channels like that we're talking about as fake news. start demonetizing them. You know, when they seen that didn't deter them, they started handing out community guideline strikes, deleting channels for violations, banning people's accounts. Whereas now we're seeing the new terms, new labels, unsafe community. You know, this whole process. Then we've seen the Pizzagate thing come around, which many of us called it for what it was, but we did find some important things in there, things that we're seeing happening and play out today, much like the status quo of the past administration. That don't happen here, nothing to see here. You know, was there some credible stuff that was in the Pizzagate stuff? Yes, there was. When it came to the human trafficking, the sex trafficking, stuff that nobody wanted to talk about, stuff that wasn't getting talked about, should have been getting talked about. Look, to date, I think we're getting close to 5,000, over 5,000 people in the U.S. that has been arrested for sex trafficking, human trafficking, pedophilia, child pornography. We're having these huge sting operations. People are being arrested almost on a daily. So there was some good that came out of Pizzagate, but they used that to a point where something happened to really draw in the narrative that we need to do something about these fake news, these truther channels. It took one incident, but that still didn't deter people. People kept going, kept still doing what, if anything, it emboldened people to keep going. I seen what it was. It silenced some. It did silence some. Because, you know, that was what was being censored. If you said anything about Pizzagate, you were getting censored. Demonetized. Labeled as fake news. So they bring in the fact checkers. You know, and that caused people to try to go to other platforms as well. It's, like I said, you see the repetition. But why? Well, the answer is quite simple. They want to control the narrative. They don't want people questioning things. They don't want people thinking for themselves. They don't want people to be able to go look up and research things for themselves. To maybe find out that what they've been taught has been wrong, or what the mainstream news has been telling them is actually wrong. They don't want you to know what's really going on over here in this country. What's really going on in Venezuela, China, Europe. Because if you knew, you would want to voice your opinions. You would want to find groups that are trying to stand up and donate to them. They don't want that. They got a reality check about the internet with Trump. Liking, hating, whatnot. Trump did what no other even thought about doing. Didn't spend hardly any money compared to everybody else, every other campaign. He used social media. He's using social media to this day. In fact, he's the first president to give you a line right to his office. You, the people, have a direct line to the president via his Twitter. Does he read it? I don't know. But you do have that line of communication directly to the president. A president that actually uses Twitter frequently. I know, people don't like it. And he's found a way to use that as a tool. That's how dangerous social media can be. Because, you know, somebody could easily start talking about somebody and ruin that person's reputation, ruin that person's credibility with no facts. There is a thin line in all this. I mean, it's no different than the old newspapers that would publish an article about a person. Of course, back then, they could be sued for defamation of character if they were wrong. You know, that's something I'd like to see brought back and enforced more. That would stop a lot of the crap we're seeing when people start getting nailed for defamation of character, when they don't have the facts, when they're just trying to smear somebody. You know, it's kind of a checks and balance. Yeah, I do. I mean, it's one of those tangled webs as well, just like everything we deal with. There's a pro and cons to it because you catch somebody that can't afford to get a lawyer and do that, they can't do nothing. And that's wrong too. And that's also some of the biggest problems. You know, they want to make guns such a big debate today. Well, the guns isn't the problem, it was the system that failed. Let's get the narrative straight. As the record keeps coming out, it was the system that failed. And as we find out this week, that very school passed policies for that, passed their own policies restricting any of their teachers from carrying, even though the state set up programs so the teachers could carry. Once more, setting a system failing its children, failing its community. Not the good. As we look at the numbers, how many people own guns, and it's ridiculously high. And I don't say ridiculous in a bad way, it's a good way. Glad to see that many people owning guns. The numbers don't even come close to what it should be if there was a problem. The fact is, bad people do bad things. A person gets that mindset, they're going to do it. But they take what they can get and they use it. So now we're going to censor gun channels. We're going to change the policy. But before we get into that, I'm getting ahead of myself. Who's that Pizzagate? Let's go from Pizzagate. The next narrative was, oh, the Russians did it. The Russians do everything. They've been crying that since after World War II, since McCarthyism. The Russians did. Everyone's got to have a boogeyman. It was the Russian bots. But this is important because now we get to a little bit of part of the agenda. Russians influenced the election through using social media. The real fact is, the people use social media. Trump used social media. Everybody, he reached a bigger audience than he could ever on front of the TV screen. Like him or hating, he was a genius in his tactics. He knew more people, the younger people, were in tune to what? Social media, to the internet. He knew his target audience, just like Bernie Sanders lightweight did. You know, it goes back to what I've also said this week. Okay, you want to talk about influence in an election? Every major news network does it when they run their primaries and their debates, town halls. You're not in the top 14 or 15% of popularity votes, you can't be on that stage. Well, guess what, my friends? That is influencing the election, because you're telling the rest they don't have a voice. They don't have a late voice, and you're denying their voice to the people. So you want to throw that scenario around. We'll call it for what it is. I have no problem calling things out for what they are. I can play the word games just like everybody else back. I'm quite good at it when I want to be. Why? Because I understand it. I know how it works. I know how to play the words. So that became the next narrative. That became the narrative that we need to really start censoring people. Oh, Twitter, you're a Russian bot. Or, how? No, why? Because I voice my opinions, my views that apparently your one-sided platform doesn't agree with. So therefore, I become a Russian bot? I think not. One, it can't be a bot. You can see my face. You can see me doing live videos. I'm posting, typing, tweeting, answering people. Guess what? That makes me what? Not a bot. Let's not play on words again. And guess what? I am a United States citizen. I am an American. No Russian in my heritage at all. So therefore, I am what? An American. So talk about defamation of character, slander. That's how they keep hitting us. They keep playing on words, just like I pointed out when we had the case law. They were arguing about the sanctuary cities last year. By dropping one word, by refusing to call them what they were, illegal, they were swaying, manipulating people left and right. Immigrant, we hear immigrants. Well, we all came from immigrants. So immigrants, in most people's terminology, are legals. People that came here, that have visas, green cards, or have their citizenships. That's why there's a word in front of it, illegal. It's there for a reason. But play on words. Anybody that questioned that narrative, oh, you're fake news. Oh, we're going to demonetize you. Oh, we're going to make sure that your stuff don't trend. We're going to restrict your views. We're going to give you strikes. We're going to ban you. We're going to label you unsafe to the community. So what do we get to? We get to another migration. People trying to go over here. Oh, they protect our free speech. But yet they forget just that last year, how many people got kicked off Patreon? I know 7 that I know of for supporting a cause or for just having a different view. How many people got banned from, lost their accounts on PayPal for having a view and opinion? So they started doing that. There is no safe platform. How many people have we heard that created their own sites or used a WordPress site only to have Google AdWords come in and tell them you need to take this down if you want to keep us running our ads? Well, they don't pressure you, they pressure the hosting provider. So the hosting provider comes and tells you, take it off, or we're going to terminate your website. All because of something you posted, something that they deemed was against the status quo or against the narrative that they want to push. This is what this boils down to. It boils down to controlling the information, controlling the narrative, controlling what is said. Don't believe me? Okay. How many people do we know? Then they get that. This is the biggest one. And this is where I have the biggest issue with so many people right now. You adhere to a label. And you think it's only this group of people that's affected. Well, let me tell you something. Just in this little bit that I've talked, I was talking about names, birds, and all these other platforms. You know how many different communities I've labeled that I actually didn't mention? It wasn't just conservatives. It was Every walk of life, every political view, every community were targeted. See, we got to break that cycle too, because in a sense, that makes it sound like, oh, it's just a small group, path of least resistance. No, it's a large group. It is everyone that is speaking against the norm, what they want you to think is the norm. This deem as the status quo. They don't want you talking about Planned Parenthood. Or if you're pro-gun, they don't want you talking about pro-gun. They don't want you showing this because it's going against the narrative, the control narrative they're trying to control. It's just not one group. You guys got to stop that. If you don't, we are divided. It's every one of us. If you're on Twitter, you're the Twitter community. Quit sub-labeling yourselves. You're on YouTube. You're a part of the YouTube community. Which means everybody, every creator that creates content on here, uploads videos, likes, shares your videos, is part of this community as a whole. Same thing with Facebook, Gab. That's your community. Start thinking that way. You know, just like now. New from the Patriot is what happened to my channel last night. What happened to her channel? Every video she had posted, and she only has a couple videos that had to do with guns, was demonetized. Scooch, doesn't know him. He got a notification. It's coming. It's just not your community. Patriot Nurse, she talks more about, yeah, she talks about some political stuff. She has her own views and opinions. And she's pro-Second Amendment. And it's her pro-Second Amendment stance in a couple videos where she's at the range that's getting her targeted. Me, I've not shared a single video of my guns. Why? Because I have a different mindset. I believe there's some things that I shouldn't know. I believe sometimes we give out too much information. I don't want you to know everything I have. I'm going to share things with you. Now, I was working on a video before all this came up of a couple of my old guns. Things that's been passed down through the family, the old 410, single act, breech single shot, old 22 handgun, revolver, or not revolver, automatic, semi-automatic, that most people wouldn't even know, because why? It was something you was able to order right out of Sears and Roebuck. Old school guns been passed down to the family. But other than that, I'm not going to show you the rest of my guns because I don't want people to know everything I have. And when you do show those things, remember, guys, those of us, oh, I don't want to be put on a list. I don't want. You got a permit to own a gun, you're technically on a list. And by showing them, you're putting yourself on the list. You're showing them what you have. Saying, hey, come over here, I got guns. Understand there is some responsibility on your end on that. Do I got a problem? No, hell no, because if it wasn't for a couple channels out there, I wouldn't have actually known how to take apart that old 22, clean it up, get it back into working, firing smooth. Those videos aren't educational. I've always kind of knew how to load my own ammo, but I was able to refresh and rewatch, and learn some new tricks to safely do it. There's no accidental overloading, putting more powder than it's supposed to. good reasons why these channels are here. They teach safety. They educate people. They shouldn't be censored because some idiot decided to do something stupid, which could have been prevented if the system didn't fail repeatedly. Funny, the FBI didn't have no problem raiding a lawyer's house, hotel room, office. They were quick to respond to that. Oh wait, that goes against an agenda though. That has an agenda. Because, it seems like with each major or semi-major event, they find a new way to come at us again. Pizzagate thing didn't work. It worked kind of, sort of. I mean, it was pretty much well after that. That was the end of monetization. But it allowed them to implement that. Yeah. Then it was the Russian bots, the Russian gate, whatever you want to call this stupid thing. So sick and tired of labels. So they use that. And, well, yeah. What, end up 13? He put out warrants for 13 people that don't even live here in the United States. But I've yet to see any real documentation proof that they were where without a shadow of a doubt this actually happened. We know there was hacking. We know all that stuff. It happens. But it's like I said, we're not stupid either. We meddle in other people's elections as well. Maybe you should start vetting the NSA and the CIA for what they do illegally in other countries. We know it's happened. Let's not forget during Obama's administration, the wiretapping gate. Of course, I know they didn't call it gate, but the wiretapping scenarios. Don't say we don't. We all know we do. Every country does it. Truth is, that had nothing to do with influencing our election. The truth is, people were so fed up. It's like we're so fed up right now with all the crap we're seeing and our rights and freedoms taken away. You think you're going to be able to change the narrative and control and stop people from getting voted in? Oh, wait, you do. Because you also know that if you can control somewhat of the narrative, you can go after people, say they did something, and ruin their election on something that they haven't been tried for, haven't been convicted in court, that later we find out was nothing there to begin with, but you ruined them. That's not the people doing it. That was you guys doing it. The ones that are in control, the ones that you say is news, real news, right? That's your narrative. That those guys are the real news. Fact is, they're entertainment. And it's been fun entertainment, especially during the meme wars. I think I got some of the best laughs last year off just the memes that were being posted, the comments. It seems like each time you find something that don't work, a new event happens. And you go after anybody that tries to talk about it, try to fact check it, question the narrative. You know what? They're supposed to question a narrative. As a human being, we're supposed to question everything. We're not supposed to take anything at face value that anybody tells us, me included. Don't ever take anything I say at face value. One, you haven't lived a day in my shoes. You haven't walked a mile in my shoes. You don't know what I've experienced in life that have made me have these opinions and views. You don't realize my interactions with some of you have changed some of my views. Because I was wrong on some things. I've learned from you. I've learned from other channels that made me question some of the things I have. That's the beauty of all these platforms. That's the beauty of free thinkers, free speech, free communities, being left to do as they please. In the end, it's not up to you guys to control these platforms. It's up to us to make the decision. What's right, what's wrong, what's moral or immoral, what content we choose to watch and like or dislike. We don't need people controlling that narrative for us. I don't need you saying, I don't need to get these notifications from Dabu7. 6 videos I've not gotten a single notification from. You know what? I went and checked all 3 channels. I'm still subscribed. My bell is clicked. Oh, wait, you changed that, though, which I pointed out. You may get some notifications. Then you want to try to send me recommended channels. You send me somebody I can't understand what they're saying. Another, yeah, no. That don't fly here either. You know what I watch. You have all that data, as we're finding out. As I found out, going through your terms of service, you don't delete a single thing. Everything's archived by your terms of service. You know, I sit here, play by the rules. Why? Because I enjoy doing what I do. Just like I enjoy watching the people that I watch, who also play by your rules. Oh, yes, we know your rules are ever changing, says so in the TOS, subject to change without notification. But the Russian bot narrative, it had its day. It caused people to lose their accounts, get banned. It caused even tighter censorship. And it caused many people, once again, another migration because they get tired of it. They want a place where they can freely express themselves. They want a place where they can be themselves. They want a place where they can learn things. This part of this message is going to be directed at you, YouTube. You've forgotten what you have. You've forgotten the importance, the beauty of what you created. Allowing creators to share whatever it may be. And before you go and say, well, we don't allow everything, I've got proof you do. You just maybe overlooking it. So while you're cleaning house on people that shouldn't be cleaning house, maybe you should clean a house on the adult content platform. And it's no mystery. But, you know, most people don't know that because they stay in their little communities. They don't venture out. They're open-minded, but they're not open-minded. I don't care what a person's belief is, what they're in. I learned that a long time ago. I don't judge people by anything. In the end, it's how they represent themselves, their actions, how they interact with people. That tells me everything I need to know about that person. It's how they hold themselves. Who cares if that person's into adult stuff? It's none of my business what they do in the bedroom. or if they choose to share it on adult sites. I don't kind of agree with it being shared on non-adult sites, though. I do believe there's should be that line there, because we do have kids that come on to these platforms. That's why I do try to watch my language, for the most part. And if I get too crazy with it, I will age restrict the videos. I get too crazy with it. I also know I have younger viewers watching my content, which makes me want to be a little bit more responsible. Not that they don't know the language anyway. I knew by the time I was 10, I knew every dirty word in the book in 2 languages. I don't need somebody to tell me how to talk or what I can and can't say. I live in America, first off. Those rights and freedoms are supposed to be protected. I get it, you're a corporation, so you don't have to honor the Constitution. I get it. I don't agree with it. That was something you guys were given an inch and you took a mile. And I don't agree with the inch they gave you. Because bottom line is, you're dealing with the United States. Your corporations, or most of you, these social media platforms are based here in the United States. So you should be honoring and upholding and respecting our laws. You know what I find even more insulting? Listen to all the platforms out there. The fact is, you'll adhere to other countries' laws and regulations. You say, screw us. What's that tell us about you guys? You know? Then, let's see, Russian Gate. Came after Russian Gate. All that Russian stuff. Came the purges on Twitter, the bannings, constant bannings on Facebook. What came next? Oh, yeah, the events that led us into the gun debates, the gun channels being heavily, new policy changes. And for those that haven't, you guys should really go read AdWords. Policy changes that happened on AdWords. Because a lot of you go to other platforms and you still get Google ads. Well, guess what? Google ads they have a policy under AdWords that tells you what content that they allow. So that's how they get people at Wordpress and other websites running Google ads. You're putting content that goes against AdWords policies. They're going to want that content removed, or they're going to remove their ads, which I have no problem. I don't want your ads. What I do, I'm not making money off of. Why? Because I'm not going to let you control my narrative. One, you don't pay me enough, wouldn't pay me enough to want to change my narrative, to cohere. What, 1 cent a click, whatever it is? I don't think so. I do these topics, these videos, because I like doing them. Why? It's better than typing and writing. It allows me to interact. That's the other thing, YouTube. You fail to realize you got something amazing going on. We can interact with our audience. We can share information, learn from each other. And you're throwing all that away. You're ruining all of that. Facebook's doing the same thing. Twitter's doing the same thing. And yes, you guys do technically have a monopoly. Because there isn't no other platforms out there that you can do all this Stuff we can do right now. Therefore, that gives you a monopoly on the market. Because this is a market. Because it's a business. You all call it yourself business, corporation, whatever you want to label yourself. You're making money off us. Welcome. But the events start happening. Now you start cracking down on this. People that even mention the person's name or question the narrative of the status quo. The people that are just research, pointing out things that just don't add up. You want to censor them. You want to give them community strikes. You want to purge them off your platform. You want to ban them or delete their comments, delete their articles. Yet again, pushing that censorship narrative. Telling people you can't question, you can't think for yourself. Now we get to where we're at today with the debacle of Facebook. And these timelines seems to be speeding up here. The very same thing that, the people that you labeled as fake news, unfactual, and any other dirty label that you wanted to slander them with, that talked about this 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, and called them liars. What? It's the truth? Say it ain't so. Tell me, you're admitting that they were right? That happens a lot, doesn't it? Oh, wait, you're not admitting to anything. You just got caught. My whole question out of this, why now? Well, that got answered yesterday. Because they want to step in and control all of you. They want to make sure what's being posted is what they want, their narrative. They don't ever want to see what happened in 2016, where any old buddy could come up, throw a monkey wrench in your agendas. This is what all this is about. They realized that for once, people woke up and realized they had control. They realized they could spread their message, reach millions of people. They realized, the American dream is real. Anybody can be a president. Anybody can be a elected official. People started realizing that's fake news. Wow, I must really hit on these heads. This is the second time I've lost my live stream's been cut out. You know, I think most of us we seen it and finally realized how powerful social media is, and that's what they fear. They fear that we're going to correct them when they step on line. We're going to make sure everybody knows. Why I get on Facebook, I get on Twitter, I get on the Minds, Gab, Spurts, Name, all these platforms. Share this stuff with my friends. They share it with theirs. Next thing you know, it went from 2 people knowing 3 people to 100, 1,000, 10,000, 50,000 people hearing what you don't want them to hear, understanding that what they've been showed and taught was wrong. They're starting to question things, and you don't want that because that destroys your little illusion of that you run the show. When in actuality, it's supposed to be we the people that run the show. We vote you in. We can vote you out. And that scares you. Some of you have made a career out of lying every election time you're up for election, promising people everything they under the moon that they want to hear just to get elected. And come up, as soon as you're in office, do everything the opposite you said. You do it all the time. And we're sick of it. We've been sick of it. We're sick of the censorship. But I know this. You keep this up, people aren't going to stand idly by anymore. Too many people have seen the truth. Too many people are sick and tired of it. Too many people are really sick and tired of what happened on Facebook. Where's my money from all the money you've made off my information? I know, I can't sue you because I agreed to your terms of service. You guys gotten away with so much crap. Some really dirty-handed crap over the years. But many of you might have the mindset, well, I've made my fortune. I've made my millions. I don't care. It's, we lose all this. We'll just create something else. And that's how they bait you guys. They do. They will come around and create something new. It'll be just like it was here. Free, get all the stuff you can do. They'll let you monetize. All of a sudden, once they got you all roped in, they'll start doing this. Why? Because exactly what happened on other platforms so long ago that they tested this out. Because something we learn as creators on any platform when you're catering to social communities, social platforms. When you migrate and move someplace else, you lose a fraction of your audience because they won't move. They won't go. Some people will never go to Facebook. They don't never like it. Some people don't have Twitter. They don't like it. And when you give them something completely new, they really don't know what to do. Some move, most don't. Always losing when you migrate. That's what they want because they're dividing you. They're breaking your community up slowly, fraction at a time. When I say fraction, I mean huge fraction. Three moves I made with my website. One of the moves was joining with another website, merging. I went from 6,000 to 3,000, which, the other website gained that fraction. But when the same crap started happening there, we merged went over to Spurs. And we went from around 4,000, 5,000 members to 500. Because people didn't want to go there. Or it was new to them. Same time, every time we moved, every website I've been worked with, partnered with, anytime they decide to migrate and go somewhere else, they lose so many people in the community. They're not going to follow. Just like I have an audience on the mines that I don't have here, that they're not on here. I mean, I have a few that are on here. Same thing with WordPress. I have a different audience. I have a few people. I have 36 subscribers here. out of those 36, maybe 10 follow me on a different platform. That's what you guys got to understand. That is part of why they do what they do and how they work things. But in a whole, I'm on enough communities that my interactions is quite a lot. I'm still interacting with the Ning communities, Spurts communities. I get a lot of my feedback from them. That's why I get comments on the videos that I share there. But the whole narrative of that is, unless I'm uploading my videos to those platforms, and some of those platforms you can't upload to without a link, I would lose all my content. Because you have to have a link for Patreon, or upload the sound, just an audio version of it, which they allow you to do, which is cool because almost all my videos are saved. Once I do a show, as soon as it's processed, instantly downloaded. Now I have software that allows me to produce and make videos. It allows me to take this video when it's done, put it in the software and get a sound, just an audio format of this video. But you can do that you can take this and turn it into an MP3 if you want, with free software. But now look at it. Now some things I show things, so I'm going to lose all that stuff that I show in places where I can't upload a video. WordPress, I'm not paying for it. I'm using the free version, so therefore I can't upload a video. And it's based on size. How many megabytes or gigabytes you're allowed. You pay for that. You got to pay extra to be able to do longer videos. Well, I don't do short videos, so could never afford to be able to upload all my videos to WordPress. I've tried Speaker and other platforms. They're pay to play. They give you a little free version, but you're only allowed like 3 videos or so many gigabytes or megabytes of downloadable material. So those don't work for me, and don't work for a lot of people, because a lot of people can't afford to be paying to upload content. And that's how they get us. In my personal opinion, yes, these sites want to make money. I understand. Some of these sites, that's how they make their money. They don't run advertisements, so I respect that to a point. But it's also controlling the narrative. It's controlling the content that comes on. So you're still dealing in a controlled environment. Hey, Free Spirit Press, are you still there? Because it seems that all my stuff is just going bonkers today. You know what? I don't know. This is the third time this has happened, guys. I want to show you what's happening. I want a record of this. It's like every so often, it's like I said, the third time it's done this. Video's unavailable. So I lose how many people is watching. It's doing it even in my Hangouts. Basically just saying I'm the one watching. It's forcing me to have to refresh. Can't hit play, can't hit live. Now it's showing 2 watching. I'm showing full bars on my bandwidth on Hangouts. This is what I'm talking about. And we all know how the Hangouts work. We've all caught it. We've all witnessed. We've all experienced it. Please talk about certain subjects and mess with it. Just another form of censorship. Why? What's the big picture here? Well, like I said, before I sidetracked myself, they hit us with it was Senator Nelson. He flat out basically said, either you fix it or we're going to step in and we're going to regulate it. We're going to control it. We had DHS last week come out talking about putting people's on a list. We had Facebook, Dean, Diamond and Silk as unsafe for the community. We've had Twitter purge people. They purged me, last month? Tried to set suspicious activity. Every time I try to do a Periscope, now on Twitter, they mess with my Periscope. They mess with my audio. Or they kick everybody that's in the chat room out and don't let them back in. And that's censorship. I sit here and watch other people do live stream that have a completely different perspective, different mindset. That's, let's just say it, anti-Trump. They come in perfect. They have their chat rooms going perfectly fine. But let a pro-Trump person go in? Oh, no. Or they start talking on a narrative that they don't want to talk about, like gun control, censorship. They start messing with them. And it gets aggravating. That's what they want. They want you to get aggravated. They want you to get discouraged. They want you to stop. They think that if they keep doing it, you're just going to get tired of it and go away. Guess what? I'm not going away. I won't go away. I'm not going to another platform. Why? I'm on too many as is. I mean, it takes half hour to 20 minutes just to make sure, if I want to share, make sure my live stream is shared to all these platforms. It takes me 20 minutes to 30 minutes to upload the links and stuff before I go live. It's time consuming. But I want to do it now more than I've done it in the past. Usually I just wait to the end of the week and whatever videos I did, I go upload them to it. On the weekends when I don't really want to do a live stream. But then you get backed up, forget, or something comes up. The next thing you know, I hate feeling like I'm spamming people because I'm 2 weeks behind and I go to upload all my videos in one day and they get all these email notifications. I don't like being that guy. Never have. Not even on my own websites. Because nobody wants to see all that email in their email. So we end up doing those things. All to get our messages out because we keep getting screwed with. We keep trying to find a place where we can upload our content. Where we can, like for me, where am I going to go to upload 2-hour, 3-hour video, an hour and a half video? Well, I know where I'm going to have to go because I can't upload a 3-hour video on a news site or else it'll take about 12 hours. Because that's just how that platform is. So it's not worth me uploading to get a link from. I know other platforms I can go to and it can be 10, 15-minute uploads with no restrictions on how much I upload. I'm going to have to send you the link in here because I don't have any other windows open. Now, this is where we've come to. It's all about controlling the information, the narrative. The biggest picture, our government wants to control the whole narrative. So, what happened in 2016 never happens again. They don't want you to be the everyday citizen to become a part of their group. A person that's going to come in there, stand up, put them in their place, call them out on their BS. They don't want that. They want to be career politicians that think they control and run everything, and that they can control every U.S. citizen. You know, they want to control the fact. They don't want us being on here calling them out on their BS when they talk about things that are unconstitutional. They don't want us sitting there calling them out when they do stuff that violates the Constitution. That's what it boils down to. They're not going to stop with their guns. They're not going to stop with the censorship until they have full control. They want every last one of your freedoms controlled. They don't want you to even think outside the norm or outside of what the status quo is. This is the big picture. The big picture that they've been working on for a very long time, that we're just now seeing really take place in front of our eyes on these big platforms. Google has a monopoly. And yes, Mark Zuckerberg, you do have a monopoly. Because there is no other social network platform out there that offers what you do. You control it because you have billion of people on your platform. You're making money off that traffic. There is nobody that competes with you. There's nobody, no search provider or engine that competes with Google. Really? Just give me a second. I'll just go to Gmail and I'll give you the link there. See, this is what I talk about ridiculous. And just so we know, because I did and made sure I checked the box. Automatically block spam messages is unchecked. So we know.
Yeah, it does.
And they are blocking my chat. They're interfering with my chat. Not allowing me to put links in. Why? Because they don't want this talked about. They want to censor my chat room, censor the content. That's the stuff. It's ridiculous.
And when I went to post it, you'll find this very interesting. There, Drew. I went to I had to actually leave YouTube, reboot my phone, not once but twice, log out of YouTube, log out of Google, log out of Facebook, and log out of my phone, and then sign back in just to be able to post the link on Twitter, and Facebook, both.
Oh yeah, yeah, we've experienced that already.
Yeah, this censorship game is getting kind of crazy. I went to post a video, and it was a live video that I had done, and I have my push notifications set so that I automatically know, as strange as it sounds, that so that I know that notifications are going out, that I get an email and a pop-up on my phone, and I didn't even get a notification. And when I went back to check after, it was only an 8-minute video and it wasn't exactly censorship, but it was covering a world event, and I'm not going to say what it was, but I got up at like 4 o'clock this morning and caught early news, and when I came back, it wasn't even showing on any of my playlists, any of my videos that I had done on on all 4 of my channels. Nowhere, wasn't even showing up as a hidden video. And then I got an email that the video was struck, that it was not factual news, when yet, in fact, the original news source came from a White House correspondent.
This will be the 4th time this has happened.
Again?
Yeah.
Oh. They're really liking this, and you're not the. Been a couple of people, been all kinds of crazy. I don't want to call them phone glitches, but there's been a lot of people that have been having strange device issues today. I had to go. Get this. I use my Bluetooth for a lot of things, and I went to turn my Bluetooth on this morning, and when you know how when it connects to your device, it tells you that you're now connected. My Bluetooth started to smoke. Literally.
I'm just going through now, checking, make sure videos playing on other sites. It seems to be playing. It's just on YouTube. It's cutting out. But it's also affecting, which I can't share. It's affecting my Hangouts, because it's every time it does it, it shows I have no viewers watching.
It's they're really pushing this hard. I actually got a notification on a video that it's going to be struck on this very topic of censorship and calling people out and whatnot. And my thought is, you know, when we have to start naming people, naming platforms, and Google, you know, when it comes to them, they've been doing this for so long, so it's not surprising the amount of data that they actually have on a person. It actually is not surprising as far as to what they're actually doing to us tonight, and how they're trying to silence the message. it's not surprising at all. And keeping in mind, this is just a beta test.
Oh no,
That's all this is.
Their beta test is over. They did their beta test on Ning, Spurts, and all those platforms a long time ago. They've already beta tested this. They got it off on those communities. This is the real wheel in motion. This ain't a beta test. Not even a little bit. 2009, I was on Ning, created my first platform. The very same things we're seeing here started there. And it started out, well, we're just going to go after the adult content or anything that shows
the name was
then it went to, oh, now we're going to hit things talking about conspiracy and preppers and that content.
Ning was one of the most beautifully laid out communities, I think, in social networking, that far surpassed what you could do with MySpace or really any of them.
Well, yeah, it's like I said, I already covered that. It's like I said, before Facebook had the chat bot where you could chat, Ning already had it.
Yeah, I was on the Ning platform back in early 09, even before Facebook even came out, even before Facebook was even a thought. I was on the Ning, and I really liked it. You know, it was well thought out. It was a very well controlled, well manicured, well designed platform, and very user friendly. You know, as far as the emotion now, what we're seeing now is the knee-jerk reaction. That's what we're seeing now. You make a crossword or you say a crossword wrong, you're bounced. I mean, it really, that's what it is. They're acting on, they're reacting rather than anything else, and overreacting. It is my belief.
This is a new platform, just so people can see. As you can see, you have a chat room. Forums, blogs, events, gathering. You can title this as all you want. Chat. You actually go to a chat room, create your own chat room. Used to be able to create your own chat room. Photos, videos. You can upload videos. But this now is pay to play. You have to pay to be on here. You can add videos. It just takes forever.
And
oh, they added something new. Oh, that's for embedding instructions for those. Then there's spurts. Let's see. This is a little bit more. There's two versions of spurts. But this place also offers chat room. You can upload videos. You can actually do a little bit more on here than you can do on Ning right now. Shouts.
Alright, so this is
but Ning really had it all together. I mean, they really did have a real back in the day, they really had a good thing going. But some of the systems, I really didn't particularly care for. My page, I was actually going through one of my old computers this morning early, and I actually did find my old Ning page and login, but the page itself was the actual guts of the page got gutted. The template, everything.
Everything changed. Everything on these changed. It's completely. It's on its fifth new owner now. It just when all that's because that's where it started. A lot of this stuff, like I said, the beta test has been over with. They beta tested it on those platforms first, and I mean now it's so you can do all the stuff we could do back in 2009. They took all that away, and they made it. They gave packages to where you got to pay for everything now, and the censorship on there changes now from owner to owner, and it's just. But that's where
like
they beta tested
Podomatic. Like Podomatic, used to be a good. You mentioned Spreaker. Podomatic is the exact same thing. You're only allowed up to so much audio, and that was used to be a good outlet as well. But then they started, and it was great for those of us that worked in the music industry, for interviewing and stuff like that. But for videos, I never used the video uploading because the audios in and of itself took quite some time to upload. And I didn't have the greatest of internet either, but the video, if you wanted that cost you a fortune to do that, and you were better off if you're gonna.
I've covered that already.
Okay, yeah.
Almost all these platforms, other alternative platforms, have become pay to play.
Yep, they all have.
And that's the form, and people might not agree with this, but that is also a form of censorship.
It is, and but what I've to some tiny aspect, if a person is gonna do some things, yeah, there's always free sites that you can upload content, but again, you're only allowed X amount, and even some of my shorter content videos, I can't, unless I put them in an MP3, you're not going to be able to, it's just not going to work.
Just like Patreon. Unless you pay for their live streaming capability, you can't live stream on Patreon without the use of YouTube or some live streaming device. You can't upload a video to Patreon without a link. You need a link, embeddable link. But you can upload audio. well, like I said, covered earlier, I don't want to repeat myself too much here, that with the audio, cool, I can do that, but how many videos, like just now, the things I've showed that's happened, they can't see that in the audio version. That's why Speaker never really worked for me. It was an alternative to play with, but even that, it was pay to play. Blog Talk, it's pay to play. If you got the money, cool, do it. It's another alternative for you. I don't have the money. A lot of creators on here, on YouTube, even on Facebook that are using the live streaming apps on Facebook, they don't have money to do this on other platforms. Just like Gab. Gab's nice and all, but it's pay to play. They're going to offer live streaming here and video up. They already offered the video uploads, but it's only like 2 megabytes, which is about an hour video. Anything over an hour of video, you can't upload. So therefore, unless you pay, then if you pay, you can live stream. I mean, I've seen some of the stuff they're getting ready to lay out, but you still have to have a pro account. So, I mean, so Gab, for me, is not an alternative. It's just another place to interact with other people that I don't interact on Twitter, Facebook, and anywhere else. It's still a tool, but it's not a tool that I can use effectively.
Yeah, and that's a topic that I really wish that you know, I'm finding, because I'm getting ready to all but flush the toilet on Facebook here. Yeah, now whether or not that comes before they decide to delete me or I delete them, it remains to be seen. But they that's the biggest thing when you've been on a platform like I've been there since '09, and I keep telling people that look, you know, I'm not going to be here indefinitely.
That goes back to what I just stated earlier, that you're going to lose a fraction, and when I say fraction, I mean a huge number of the people that
You're
going to go someplace else. I've told people, you want to know what I'm doing more? Enjoyed the content that I was sharing here on Facebook? You can get it on the Minds. How many came over? None.
Yep. Yeah, I had the I posted quite some time ago. I put all my links for every network that I'm on, and that I was trying to encourage people to come there rather than Facebook. And
actually, this brings up another subject while we're talking about this, because that just reminded me something when I just mentioned the Minds. Here's another reason for what we're seeing with Facebook. Now, how many people are going to be scared to migrate to Steemit, Minds, because you want to monetize, you want to be able to get your points and stuff on the Minds? Because, you know, I use the points for boosting my content, get the views, get more people, increase my reach on people. Well, now I can't, because, you know, they give you a point for every time you like a video, comment a video, you upload a video, you upload a post, you get points. Every time you logged in, you got 50 points. Well, they changed all that. And I'm not, everybody knows I'm against cryptocurrency.
Yep.
I'll never use that feature that they got. But they still have the feature for people that don't want to use it, but you have to give up your cell phone number. And it has to be your cell phone number. Steemit's the same way. There is a way around the Steemit thing. But how many people want to do that? I do not give my cell phone number out to no platform.
And that, you know, I reached out to Steemit, and I got a very visceral response from them that they stop short of actually calling me everything but a human being. And I was like, you want to call yourself a social, and I'm going to use this term when it comes to Steam it, very loosely, a social network or a social platform, and you're going to viscerally attack somebody for asking a legitimate question. What if I don't have a cell phone? Because there, because there are people in this world and in this country that do not have a cell phone, do not want a cell phone, will not have a cell phone, be it financial or otherwise, and or they simply do not want to give up that private information. And their reply was very visceral, to be polite about it. And I was like, really? And I almost published that response, but my thought was, if I post this visceral response,
talking about it.
no, it was pretty graphic in nature, and it would open me up for a lawsuit. And
See, that was the other thing in Ning's policy they got you with. That's why I'm glad I'm not a creator. Don't own no websites, because you couldn't even when you agreed, when you joined their platform as a website creator, you agreed to never talk bad about Ning. It's still in their terms of service to this day.
Yes, it is. And but I will say, the only problem I did have, I was not a big fan of their chat box system. I could have came up with 100 other different chat box programs other than that one.
But it worked.
But yeah, it worked.
And for that time of era, it really worked, because there was no group chat. What I liked about it, you could private chat with somebody.
Right. And they were the first ones to have that option.
But other than that, you couldn't really do anything else with it. It was basic chat box. You got what you got. And it worked.
And it had the moderator
was you were able to actually embed the chat box. You know how to take the coding. You were able to embed it into a group and make a private chat room for that group, which is something few of us found out before anybody else did. And we had private chat rooms and groups.
And a lot of radio stations used the Ning system for a very long time. And it worked very well. A lot of musician bands also used the Ning platform before MySpace and all them other ones. Yep.
I was a member and a creator over there. And designer over there.
But it was a very good system back then. It by and by it stood the test of time through many of its evolutions. It was very good up until recently, when it did go pay to play, but I also have to a degree. I do have a different spin.
It got ruined when Glam bought him out.
Who bought them?
Glam. The same ones
Okay.
that previously owned MySpace.
Okay. The one that, you know, to some extent, and I hear, and I believe me, I totally understand that. When you don't have the ability to put any skin in the game, and you're literally living from meal to meal, and yet you have a voice, and you want, and you have the poise and the presence to be able to still deliver top quality content. You shouldn't be penalized because you don't have the ability to put any skin in the game. And when I say skin in the game, be part of this pay to play theme that it is proliferated the streaming community. But all too often, as I see with a lot of people, and I'm not going to strike at any generation because I see it in many generations, that they just think that they're owed this, that, and everything else. I see it in all of them. And, you know, in some generations you see it more, and in other generations you see it less. But you see it in every generation. That's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, I'm putting time into it. Just like when I go out there and build stuff. When I go out and build stuff that I'm going to sell, I never get what I actually put into it.
Oh, we never do. We never will. We never will.
Because then nobody could afford it. I get, you know, basically I get 10%, if that, because I usually only mark up 8% up front after the materials.
It becomes,
you don't get nothing. I mean, you get a little bit.
A labor of passion, and rather than and that's I guess why there's so many civilian journalists out there that have been in it as long as they have. Some have tried to make it into a career, and some have been able to successfully do so, but very, very few have.
And that's the other thing that makes things so popular when it came to making money. Let's use storm chasers for an example. People at storm chasers.
Perfect example.
They were able to sell the videos to the local news. They'd buy it. Now, then people started seeing, now I can make money. Now you have hundreds of them out there trying to do that, flooding the market. And it gets to a point where it lowers the value of the video, the price you're going to get for it. Just like in the journalists that want to type articles for like the Huntington Post or whatever it is, the AP.
Let me speak on the storm chaser aspect of this, because
I don't want to get off topic though. That's the thing. I'm just using that
because I actually am a chaser, and I am trained to do so.
The point was, what killed all that was reality TV.
Yeah, it really was. But what really hurt that, and what continues to hurt that, and I think with all this weather modification, is you're going to see a lot more people that are going to be out there, rather than the science of it,
right,
but more of the thrill of the chase and the adrenaline. Just like a lot of these stringers are doing in journalism. They are doing the exact same thing. Trying to make a buck. And it really has saturated the market. It's made things next to impossible for the true grassroots people that have been doing it for a very long time and have done it in very dangerous circumstances rather than waiting until there's a heavy police presence and then first words out of their mouth is there's a heavy police presence at Kenner.
But why do they do that? Because that's what sells to the audience. That's what
Exactly
draws the audience in. It's always been like that. No matter what genre we're in the digital age with the live streaming, where they were opened up a platform where they could actually not have to go to the AP or the Huntington Post or Washington Post or any of these outlets. They could come right here, get monetized, create a Patreon account, create a PayPal account, get donations, and do it. And that's also part of this big picture here, part of the censorship. It's creating something to where you can be free, independent, to live your life, live the American dream as you see fit, and make a living. And you're taken away from the corporations. They don't want that. Now you're able to voice your own opinions, have your own narrative. Like you mentioned weather modifications. We know that happens. It's been happening before TV.
Yep.
I mean, we can go clear back to Native Americans. They were modifying weather.
Yeah.
In a sense. They were used, even in the early 1900s, they were cloud seeding back then. Since the invention of the airplanes, they started cloud seeding. Before, they just used to take cannons and shoot them up and shoot the stuff in the air. It's always been a thing. Let's not make something a big deal out of old news. It's always been doing it. Nobody goes back to the roots of it. Nobody goes back to the history and points all that stuff out. And you should. If you're going to report on something, does it happen? Yes, it's been happening before our times and before our forefathers' times. But now there's science involved. Now there's different opinions and stuff. Now you're kind of starting to contradict people that wants to hold a narrative that global warming is a thing. And because, back in your day, what was global warming? It wasn't global warming. It was putting holes in the ozone, using aerosol cans.
Yep.
How often do you hear anybody talking about that now? About using aerosol? Nothing. Because come to find out, it wasn't affecting anything. We were doing more damage by sending spaceships up and punching a hole.
Yep.
But as we found out, those holes over time close back up. But they don't want to report that. Does global warming happen? Yes, it actually does. There's facts there. It's also very much a very natural cycle. The Earth, we could remove all humans from the Earth, and guess what? We'd still have global warming. We'd still have it going through its natural cycles. Do they spray stuff on this? Yeah, we used to call it cloud seeding. Now we call it chemtrails. But yet, when you start opening these doors for you to share all these views that opposes one side, that contradicts the one-sided narrative, and you start calling them on the facts, then they want to take it away. Or when you start opening up outlets where people can make a living, make some money, live their dream. Oh no, we're going to start stripping that monetization back. We need somebody to fact check you. Well, how can you fact check anybody, when I can go find two different scientists that have opposing views on the ones on any subject. It's a matter of what they believe, and they're going to spew whatever they want. In the end, it comes back to you need to make that decision. What seems right to you?
It's this thing called discernment.
You know, that's what they want to control. They want to control all of this because now it's not like it used to be. It used to be you had what was on the TV and what was printed in the paper and snail mail. For those that don't know the terminology of snail mail, yes, go grab a pen, piece of paper, an envelope, and a stamp, write a letter, and mail it. It'll take how many days to reach a person? Oh, wait, that person lives out of the country. It'll take how many weeks? Send a package. I mean, you send a package to somebody overseas, it's got to go through customs. It takes about a month for them to receive the package. Yes, snail mail. Or instead, I can go to Amazon. Oh, yeah, buy, ship it to this person over here, bypass all this little crap that is coming from a corporate company that has a fucking warehouse over there. See,
Yep.
there you start seeing the big picture of things. They created the internet, which was supposed to be free for everyone. A free network, a free form of information. And they've tried to monopolize it, control it. They let it grow, become what we now see it today. Now they're creating new programs, new AIs, new algorithms to tighten the noose in, control what's being put out there. They're creating fact checkers, as I pointed out yesterday. So, you want to call RT fake news. Cool. So, was it fake that they were sharing a live stream of the Zuckerberg trial, and it was live? In fact, I'll tell you right now, you need to remove that Wikipedia thing you got under there because of this fact right here. It was factual because I was able to go to C-SPAN and watch the same feed word for word on RT as the same thing was streaming on C-SPAN. Same thing it was streaming on CNN when they weren't narrating over top of it. But yet RT, because it's Russian television, it's fake news. Oh, if you're typing, I'm not going to see it because I don't have a window open.
No, I just had a message pop up on my desktop computer.
Just like they don't want to tell people about certain events, like walkouts, how they were promoting it. They were trying to stop people from talking about it on various platforms. Why? Well, because that might just get back to the parents who wouldn't approve their kids walking out. It's something they don't believe in, neither do the kids, because we've heard the cases. There was at least 5 on my local news when that stuff happened. They got suspended because they wouldn't put a teacher in for the ones that didn't want to partake. We found kids that came out and said they forced us to go out there. Then we decided to show and share the ones that went out there that were pro and convinced their schools to let them partake, but yet we tried to share that. You restricted the views. You restricted how many people could see it because that goes against the narrative. It goes against the status quo. No, let's get something straight right now. I brought this up earlier. I'm going to bring it up again because it is very important. Most of these social network platforms, corporations, are based here in the United States. They will honor every other country's laws and enforce them, but they won't honor our country's laws. And that's the issue. You won't honor my freedoms. And that's what makes this whole Facebook debacle so huge. That's what makes what they reported about DHS wanting to put people on the list so huge. They want to control the narrative. They want to have full control of what content is on the internet. They want to silence every last one of us, and they want to control our thoughts. They want to control our opinions. They want us to be perfect little zombie robots that march to their tune and believe everything they say. You know, we all know what's taking place over in Syria, the tirade back and forth, with what recently just happened. We all found out the truth about the White Hats. Oh, wait, the White Hats are back there again. But yeah, we talk about that, and we point out exactly what they got caught staging, faking it. You want to censor that. In fact, you wanted to make a movie about it, a documentary about it. And when all the truth finally came out, yeah, we seen what happened there. You know, I'm personally opposed to any form of chemical attacks, any form of nuclear attacks. I'm opposed to having our soldiers over a place we shouldn't be. Because we shouldn't be there. It's none of our damn business. But once you use something like that, that becomes the world's business. But you want to censor that so nobody knows what's really happening. That's controlling the information. That's putting things into play underhandedly to cause an outcome, cause an event. We all know the truth about war. War don't make shit unless it's a world war. It's the only time war has ever made money is when it's a world war. Because then it's all about the supply and demand. We need ammo. We need equipment built and on mass scales. So the economy starts to boom. It doesn't do that on these petty little skirmishes. Never has. We all know that. War is also a form of population control. Those are the facts. But when you start talking about, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, that's fake news. No, the facts, the strategies, the strategists say these things. The art of war says these things. It is been since the beginning of warfare the strategy and the tactic. That's not fake news. There's nothing fake about it. There's nothing fake about that. World war generates money, and regular wars, you lose money. Because since 9/11, for real, we've been burning off the surplus from World War II. That's how much production it made. We can never allow any government to control a narrative. They cannot control your freedom. You cannot let them put you in categories, create labels for you, because you get so caught up in that label. Oh, I'm going to point this out to you again. Damn it, they did it to me again.
They're really on a roll again. Yeah, they keep timing me out on my phone too. Shutting me off on my, kicking me out on the phone.
Yesterday, they were making me sign out. They were signing me out, make me sign back in. You know, this is what is ridiculous. You know, it comes to a point where, you know, they're starting to piss so many people off. And they created the problem. It was created intentionally. I mean, it goes back to all this. We we've heard, like I said last night, we've heard governors, senators, congressmen, mayors throw the word civil war around. They want it. They want an unrest. They want censorship. They want to piss people off, force them to go do something so they can create an event to create civil unrest. We see it with all these movements. Let me ask you something. They deemed Diamond and Silk unsafe for Facebook. They banned them. Where was the NAACP? Where was Black Lives Matter? That's right. Nowhere. Because it's not the narrative. It's not a white cop killing a black person. It goes against the racial narrative that they're trying to spread. You know, the NAACP that I knew would have been on top of that in the 70s, 80s. That wouldn't have flied back then, what happened to Diamond and Silk. They would have been on top of it right then and there. Now, nothing. Just like the NRA. Still running their ads on YouTube, who's restricting gun channels because they put up gun content because they changed their policies. They're taking your money, the money you pay them for membership, paying Google and YouTube, because it's a Google ad, to run their ads. So therefore, they're supporting these policies. You need to understand that. Because they're supposed to be your voice. In truth, they should never be your voice. You sitting right there listening to the video, your community is the voice. You're supposed to be taking charge, not relying on some organization who's no longer an organization, they are a corporation now.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, because last I knew they were legally a corporation.
Yeah, I mean, they started out as an organization.
But,
you know, how many people, I see the countless stories, and it's like, I'm sick of it. I really am. I'm sick of corporations, paying corporations, and not caring about the American citizen, the everyday citizen whose rights is being taken away. It's ridiculous. The censorship is beyond ridiculous. But yet, you will follow another country's policies, their laws and regulations, and enforce them. You'll ban all my videos from all these countries because that country deems it. But you won't sit here and honor the laws of our land? I have a huge problem with that. And I'm calling you out on it. Because our senators are a bunch of spineless, corrupt individuals who won't call you out on it. But then again, they already said what they want. They want complete control over everything. They don't want anybody talking about anything that goes against the status quo. They don't want us pointing out the fact they're committing treason when they violate their oath, when they start removing stuff from the Constitution, when they start demanding these platforms censor people. They just committed treason to this country because they violated the oath to uphold and protect the Constitution. And you guys will believe their lies, or you'll vote for them because they're Republican, and you want to turn everything red. When some of the problem is the very same red rhinos that are in there right now who keep doing the same crap. I'll pose this question to you. Would you vote for a Democrat who's you can follow and see that everything when it comes to constitutional matters he has upheld and defended, and that he believes
100%, you have the right to bear arms. You have a right to freedom of speech. You have the right to never be censored. And he runs on that campaign process, has done that in his past political promise. How many of you would vote that Democrat? No, most of you wouldn't, because you guys are caught on the label game. You'll vote this very same red rhino Republican back into office that has tried to take away your constitutional rights, but he's promising under some, oh, I'm a Trumper. I want to make America great again. As soon as he gets in office, screw you. I'm going to go after your freedoms. I'm going to tell these social media corporations to censor you. That's the problem.
Yep.
We get caught into that label game. We keep voting one way because we're Republicans. You shouldn't be nothing. You're an American. Vote the people in that's going to listen to you, that's going to honor your vote, honor what you believe in. Don't vote because it's blue or red or whatever else the label may be. That's why we've gotten to where we are today. And that's what they don't want. They don't want people like me coming on here pointing out what they've done and how they voted in the past and that they're lying to you. Oh, if I do that, I'm influencing the election. I'm going to be put on a list. When I'm doing my due diligence as a American citizen, pointing out that this person has not upheld our constitutional rights, who's done everything to strip us of them, but that makes me unsafe. That's how we get here. That's how they keep constantly dividing us, constantly pitting us against, oh, this is only happening to conservatives. Bullshit. It's happening more than just in conservatives. It's happening to everybody that speaks their mind and opinion that goes against the status quo. They're getting purged, banned, quit putting memes and things out just saying it's the one group. Start acting like a American, because that's your community. That's your citizenship. You're an American. If it happens to one of us, it happens to all of us.
Yeah, and most people, they don't, until that, till it comes knocking on their door, they're not going to believe it. You know, and that's the that's the sad part. Until that their door gets kicked in, or their channel or whatever the case is, until it happens to them, it's not happening.
The problem is, by the time it happens to them, it's already too late. That's the whole problem with this big picture.
Yep.
We keep waiting until it's too late, instead of putting everything aside and realizing this is our fellow brother and sister. It's an American. It is a citizen. Doesn't matter what their damn label is, what religious preference they choose. They're homosexual. They're an American citizen. They have every right that you have. They have every liberty, equality that you have. If that person falls, you're next in line. They go after the ones first. They take the path of least resistance. That is the number one tactic in any type of engagement. The path of least resistance. That person, oh, who cares? It's that person. Oh, it was that website. Oh, who cares? That's the problem. And they want you to think that way. Because now they're going to take this. They're going to take this and blow this way out of proportion, because Zuckerberg doesn't care. He's made his millions. He said, no, I'm not going to come there and personally support that. I'll send my colleagues. Why? Because he don't care. He's going to do whatever they tell him. He's not going to come. There's no fix that Facebook can bring to the table now that Congress is going to agree on. They're going to want to step in and completely take control of the narrative. They're going to say, well, Wikipedia is a fact-checking source, or Snoops is the only fact-checking source. When the fact is, there is no fact-checking source because it's almost impossible to fact-check half the crap they throw at us. Because there's always going to be this scientist that says this, there's going to be another scientist that says that. It's up to you to follow the evidence. Make the decisions. Have your own opinions, your own views, your own mind. Come up with a conclusion. Share it. Show people how you went through the process. Let them make up their mind. Because a lot of you do a great job of it. A lot of you show how it really is. And when you show those facts, you can't really argue them. When you show that research that you put in there, whatever happened to show your work. I guess I don't teach that at school no more. It can't be argued with. Of course it can be argued with because they're going to find somebody or they're going to pay somebody to come on here or to write an article that counters it. Or they're going to pay somebody to go write a Wikipedia article and they're going to use that to put up under your YouTube video or on Facebook. That is a one-sided view, which violates, by the way, Wikipedia's policy. It's supposed to be neutral, and you're supposed to put both sides of it.
Yep.
You know, we all have responsibilities. I have responsibilities when I talk about things to be able to back my things up. But how can you back up, like what I talked about earlier, platforms I've been on? How do you back that up when that's experience, when you've had it happen to you? You know, because back then, who knew about taking screenshots and stuff like that? Or, just use that in a particular case, we did do that once. And then they put it in their terms of service that on certain things, if you took a screenshot, you were just as guilty as the party involved.
Oh yeah, I actually remember a thanks for bringing back old memories on that one.
Oh, I was one of the people that was involved in the contacting the FBI on Ning. That's why they got rid of all that, where you can no longer search people. Remember, when you joined Ning, you were given a Ning profile.
Yep.
Separate from any website, but it showed all the websites you were on. So you were able to actually. This was beautiful. This system was beautiful because it helped us keep fucking pedophiles, perverts, stalkers off our websites, and spammers. Because you could go see what websites they were on. And what happened was, I'm pretty sure this is what you're getting ready to talk about, that 9-year-old or 8-year-old kid that was on these adult sites. Pedophilia?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, we ended up getting threatened on that one.
I actually got
For pointing it out.
120-day ban from Ning for taking a screenshot after repetitively filing reports of blatant threats of bodily harm, which was in the TSO that those were prohibited. I got a screenshot after constantly reporting and flagging this person.
So yeah, by the same TOS, you had to show proof.
And yes, and I took a screenshot of it. I got a 120-day suspension from the name, from even being able to log in. And they didn't just block the ID, they blocked the IP as well.
Oh yeah.
Which, you know, for that time and in that era, the name was the best.
They were ahead of the game.
They were light years ahead of the system, some of their TSO was a bit askew, but they were light years ahead of every other platform out there.
And the other thing, but here's the other thing that people don't get. And everything we're seeing happen here, we've seen happen somewhere else. It's a fact.
Yep.
That's why how you're on YouTube, how they do their when you get a community strike and their appeal process, they've all learned these lessons from the Ning's platform, the Spurts platforms, because
Primarily the Ning, because the founders came out of Ning.
well,
They all were very instrumental in Ning.
Actually, there's two sides of that story. I don't know if you actually know the whole back end of Ning. Ning was created by two people. And one person got screwed. He later went to go. And there was actually lawsuits involved in this. The other person ended up creating Spurts and taking half the Ning creators with him. And the owner of Ning at the time, tried to sue him for the codes they were using. But they were both the creators of Ning. They created it. Now, I know there's a few Ning creators that came over here to YouTube as well, Facebook, and other places, because this is, like I said, this is where all this crap was beta tested.
Yeah.
And all this stuff you're seeing, how we do appeals and stuff, they all learned their lessons, all that from these beta tests on Ning. Because as Ning changed, the policies, and the problem is, we weren't smart back then. We would just either deal with it, comply, or move to another platform. So I keep telling you guys, moving to another platform doesn't work. It follows you. This was all done way back in early 2009, 2010.
And
this censorship is not a new game. How you guys do your appeals and stuff. I mean, I give YouTube credit. YouTube right now is still the only platform that you can use a landline, as long as you have a phone number. It doesn't matter if it's a landline or not, to be able to verify yourself. Every place else, now you have to have a cell phone. I'll be damned if you get my cell phone number when it's active. Not happening.
And it's, I guess my final thoughts are, because I have to, unfortunately, I have to head out the door and go to work. I got a work situation I have to go deal with here. But the biggest problem is that everybody is missing. Is not only is all this already been seen, done, and tried on every other place, but YouTube has learned through all the other, besides all the other sites, they've also seen by sitting back, watching, and seeing what, and being that wallflower, so to speak, and letting things happen. And sooner or later, they decide that, well, we've been the wallflower long enough. Now we're going to get on the other side of that, and we're going to be more proactive and take back our community. And in doing so, by quote unquote taking back their platform, what they don't realize is they're taking back and taking away what the people built for them.
Right.
Because without us, there would be no YouTube. It would be known as something else. And so there would be no you, there would be no me, and somewhere along the line, they have forgot this. I don't know if this was an oversight. I don't think that it was an oversight.
No, it's the political aspect. It's you're going to comply, or we're just going to run you through the courts until you're bankrupt. That's what it
Yep.
boils down to, and that is a fact. Because as a person that tried to go into that game and create my own platform and my own servers, that's exactly what I was told from attorneys and from IT techs that do this for a living. That's how the game works. You will censor your network, or else they will run you to your bankrupt and can't afford it, and so far in debt trying to fight it. See, guys, that's experience. That's trying these things, learning the systems. You don't need a college education to do it. Believe me. Associate's degree in art, not computer science, not computer graphics, not no MIT. Everything I know how to do, I sat here and guess what? Here's what YouTube forgets. That's the beauty of what they created, and they're destroying. I learned all of this, most of it here on YouTube and various other websites that creators share that information, teach you how to build platforms, do coding. The artistic side of that was easy. I've always known how to do that. I mean, especially when you got a pen pad, you got a bamboo tablet pen pad, you can sit there and just like having a pencil and draw. The graphics side was the easiest thing to learn. The coding really wasn't that hard once you realize that it's repetitive.
And
that's why you can't patent code.
And that's what they're missing in the overall scope of all this is that without us, their idea would have fallen flat on its face within a year of its launch.
They're not missing that. That's part of the game. That's why the whole idea of going to another platform never works. A new platform comes about, they offer all this stuff that we're used to, that we got over here. They might throw in a few new tidbits after they finally grow to that certain point, whatever that magical number is in their mind. Then in comes the censorship. Then comes taking the stuff away. In comes all the other crap that you're dealing with right here. Mark my words, I've been there, done that. It will happen no matter where you go. It is designed that way. Yep. Oh, let's boycott. Let's boycott. Well, guess what? Not everybody's going to boycott because they will cater to a certain narrative. Those that are of that mindset that's producing the content that they want and only want, they will keep them, and therefore we are still the magic word, divided.
Yep.
There's no such thing as going anywhere because you're still going to have a fraction. Like I said, these guys got monopolies in this stuff. They make sure of it. But now, I can do live streams on Facebook. Have more censored over there than I am here, which makes it impossible to do anything on Facebook. Twitter's becoming the same way now. I do a Periscope, which is part of Twitter. It's their beta for beta testing for their idea of a live streaming app for their platform, which they've not released because apparently they've seen the headaches and aggravations that Periscope's caused them. Now they're censoring Periscope. Now they're banning people off Periscope. It don't stop. It doesn't matter where you go. People think Patreon's the answer. Patreon's nice. It has some advantages. But in the end, last year, 7 people, and they don't have. Oh, let me rephrase. Let me put the icing on the cake, and they don't have to give you a reason why they suspended you.
No.
That's documented. It's happened to people. So Patreon, no, is not the next answer because guess what? All you gun channels, as long as they keep pushing this narrative, Patreon's going to eventually start removing you from them. And you're not going to get a reason why. Well, you're going to know why because they're trying it everywhere. Same way with people in the UK. Now knives are banned. Now you can be patted down and searched right there on a public street for no reason at all, just because you just happen to be walking across the street or walking to a shop. Now, if you post any video showing a knife, it's prohibited. It's coming,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And they're going to start putting heat on all these other networks to remove that content. No matter where you go.
One of the funny rules, because my sister's over there in the UK, one of their laws over there, you can't even walk into a shop over there and have as soon as your foot breaks the plane of that shop, and it's across the majority of the UK, as soon as your foot breaks the plane of that doorway, if you've got a hoodie up, your hoodie better come off. Doesn't matter how cold it is. Your hood has to come off your head, no matter what.
Don't get me started on that one.
It's just all those little stupid little things.
But yeah, one group of people can cover their faces.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
Not a problem.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the other thing. All this stuff goes back to my video last night. Distractions. That it's gotten away from us. How many of these new politicians that are coming up happen to be of that certain group?
Yep.
And it's huge.
I've thought about that.
See, I was getting ready to do something on that one. Then all this censorship crap came up. And then, people started losing their channels, and we started, trying, you shift gears to stand up for people, and some things get put on the back burner because this is just as important. In fact, this is a little bit more important than what that is because they're coming after all of our freedoms. They're coming after our rights and our liberties. Then, while we're focused on this, we got our government being infiltrated.
And then you gotta you'd be remiss if you didn't mention the fact that now if you, because of certain laws and certain things that were signed into law without anybody reading them, you can actually I found this out.
I didn't miss that fact. I covered that last night.
I'll be the first to admit I haven't had a chance to go back and listen to all of last night's broadcast. But you can actually, if you are going into a government building, they can request, especially a federal they can request to, if your phone is turned on,
To turn it off, yeah.
you can, as soon as you enter the property, either A, you turn it off, or when you get to the checkpoint, they have the right to request to look at your phone.
Yeah.
And if your phone is visible.
Oh, I mean, it's getting worse
They
than
have,
that. I mean,
it's,
everybody got away from the subject of the new IDs and biometric stuff that they're trying to implement. People don't
that,
realize, and it's happening. It's happening without the government doing anything yet. These states are doing it. Arizona, North Carolina, and May, I believe, it's getting ready to go effect. And here's how bad that one is. That ID you now get, hey, sounds good. I don't have to renew my driver's license or ID for it's an ID. It's going to cover passport, everything. It also is
yep,
going to have every bit of information on you, digital and everything, that say you're an ex-felon, you'll be prevented from entering a federal building because of the little chips in the cards. It's going to read it and it's going to instantly throw a red flag, or it's going to say you got a gun permit.
yep.
But we get caught up in dealing with having to deal with all this stuff. All that stuff is just sliding through the cracks, untalked about. It's very
Yeah, there's
important.
a lot of things that over the next couple of weeks we'll be touching on, providing we don't have any other distractions.
Well, for me now that it's starting to stay daylight longer, I've got projects that's going to be being done outside. So
yeah,
my time schedule in here is going to start changing, and videos going to be done a little bit different because it's switching the seasons. I got tons of stuff. I was out there today, first real nice day we had, up in the woods marking out the trees that I got to clean out that I'm going to be using for projects in lumber. And I got some welding projects to do.
I got a bunch of stuff coming up that I'll be touching on my backup.
Then
probably later this week.
Then, as I told you, don't know what's going to transpire here in come June. If most people know, I spend usually take vacations to North Carolina. It's not vacations for working, helping my friend, but it's a vacation to me because there will be no doing videos because there's no internet connection.
Yeah,
Can't even do it. I mean,
I will be doing a over on mine. I will be doing a update video tomorrow afternoon. They can expect a video from me tomorrow afternoon for those that care.
Right now, that's not set in stone. So,
my channel updates are pretty well.
But I will say this: what is set in stone is next year, come June, I will be permanently relocating to North Carolina, which means I'll be down for a while.
Yeah, I don't foresee any major moves for me, but I'll be doing a channel update, and it might be the last video over there for the foreseeable future, but I'll discuss that tomorrow afternoon or after 9 o'clock Central Time for me, because Thursday night for me is a TV night for me, at least until 9 o'clock. And then I'm free for a little bit. Maybe I'll wait and do it tomorrow night at 9, and see if I can put the schedule it then, and who knows, we'll see what happens. And go over a few things, and channel update there, because gonna be a lot of things coming up that I have going on as well, that I'm just simply not going to be around or available to hop over here, or even on my own, really, for that matter. And I'll be going into details with that tomorrow. But I have to hop out of here, Drew.
All right.
I have a work situation I got called in. I have got to go do. I don't have a choice. So I will hit you up later when I get back from work at probably about, God, I don't know what time I'll get done. Hopefully it'll be a short time, but I'll hit you up when I get off work.
All right, I'm going to be wrapping this one up here shortly anyway.
All right, thanks a lot, you guys. Y'all have a great one. Remember, if you're not speaking your mind, and you're not speaking truth, then that you're censoring yourself, and self-censorship, that's just not cool. So, if you're going to be true to yourself and true to your fellow man, you're going to speak your mind, and you're going to speak truth. Peace and love, y'all. Thank you much for having me on again, Drew. We'll talk again soon later on.
All right, later.
Yep, bye.
But yes, guys, the censorship, it's not going to go away until either these owners of these social media platforms, these owners that control these websites, that they have a strong control over, monopoly over, start seeing what they actually have. They start understanding that they've created beautiful things. Great things have come from these things. But when you conform and start letting people tell you that you need to control the narrative, that only this content can be talked about, that people can't have their own opinions and views, you've become just as much as a problem as those that are forcing you to do it. Is there some content that's not appropriate? Yes, we all agree on that. I mean, we don't never argue that. What you're doing now is completely uncalled for, ridiculous, and it violates every single one of our rights and freedoms as humans. And most of your corporations and these companies are based here out of the United States. So therefore, you're violating our law of the land. You're violating our laws, our constitutional rights. You'll adhere to another foreign country's policies and try to force them upon us. Now think about that. So that's what you need to really think about. You're forcing another country's views, ethics, politics upon us, you Americans. We don't live in that country. We don't live in that country for a reason. And you wouldn't live over there if you believed in freedom, if you believed in the Constitution. Now, eventually, people are going to start drawing lines in the sand. People are going to say, we've had enough. You won't change? Well, guess what? Eventually, we're going to get to a point where you're just going to have a select audience. You'll have that audience you want. Then what you're going to do? Because that is the minority. You'll have a few stragglers, but eventually they'll get tired of it and they'll leave. Then what do you have? I know many of you created these things, designed these platforms based on the American dream, based on wanting people to have a place where they could be free, express themselves. You need to find that. You need to go back in your life and find what made you make this. For some of you, it wasn't even about the money. You need to, as I tell anybody and everybody, step back, look at yourself in the mirror, look at what you've become, look at what you're doing. How have you strayed away from what you originally had intended and designed? For those that can actually do that, you would find we're forgiving. And if you would take a stand with us, we would stand with you. You guys created something truthfully beautiful, magnificent. And now you're just throwing it away. You're ruining it. And you're causing more ripples and problems than ever before. In fact, you're helping the ones that are forcing you to cause this unrest. That's something for all you social media platforms, companies to think about. Think about why you originally created what you did. Now think about how you're destroying it. How you're stripping people of their rights and freedoms. Everybody else, I hope you guys enjoyed. I know long, covered a lot of stuff. Now you see why I didn't write the blog post, because there's just so much. There's so much more that I missed. So much more that could be said on this very subject. Why? How we got here? In the end, it's all about controlling the narrative. They fear what took place. They don't want to see that illusionary control that they've manipulated and showed you guys that they have. They want to make sure that nobody's punching holes in their imperfect system that they've created. They don't want people calling them out when they try to strip our rights and freedoms. They want to be able to tell that lie to you when it comes to election time so you vote for them. Basically, guys, the cat's out of the bag. It's been out of the bag. They thought they controlled a system that they never had control over. Now they're trying to get full control over it. The cloud system sounds all great, but they want to control that. They want one organization to control all that data and information. No. The internet was never designed for that, never meant to be one person's control. Things have to change. Whether it's us completely walking away from it and letting their money be hurt, which is practically in this day and age is impossible. Most people have smart TVs, smart appliances, smartphones, cell phones. It's almost virtually impossible to unplug. And I must have got disconnected again. I guess that's my cue. Wrap this up anyway. But in the end, we're going to have to make decisions ourselves. The answer isn't going other places. The answer is probably just to tune out, turn it off. Maybe then they'll get the message. But I know how that works. Just like any good old boycott, never get enough people to do it. Because we're not talking just us here in the United States. We're talking about the whole world would have to tune out. And that's just not rationally going to happen. So we have to find a narrative that we can express ourselves. And it's doing what I'm doing now. Each and every one of you. You know, let's start creating a hashtag. Let's create it. Here's a challenge for you. Create a video of what you think about censorship. Your views, your opinions. Everyone that listens to this, do that. That's my challenge to you. Tag me. Let me know you did it. I'll share it. That's how you start a small movement. Challenge other people. The same challenge. More people that can do that comes out, speaks out against this. At least your voice was heard. They have to listen. Maybe change will come, maybe it won't. But we took that first step forward. And we put them on notice. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Be safe, and I will catch you on the next one.